Bonjour. Welcome to Paris. This is Véro. You won't believe this, but the weather was gorgeous all day, at least all afternoon. And about 20 minutes ago, the wind picked up and there were some raindrops. So I almost canceled our little impromptu walk. Bonjour, Tom. But I thought I would sit at a cafe instead until the rain goes away. It seems to have slowed down. Bonjour, les amis. Yeah, the rain has slowed down, but you can see it's still windy. So I'll do my best. I wanted to show you a very special street. Bonjour, les amis. I just wanted to show you this great little street. It's actually a long street, but the weather is not cooperating. So we will see what we can do. So let me start here. You see my favorite drink, one of my favorite summer drinks. So hopefully the sun will return. Orangina. I'm going to show you where we are. I thought it'd be a nice way to start. So we are in the 14th arrondissement, so really south of Paris, right here. And you know this square here. This is the big square called d'Enfer Rochereau with a big lion in the middle. You may remember that statue. Right here is the second largest cemetery in Paris, which is le cimetière de Montparnasse. And we are south of the square. We are actually sitting right about here. And I'm going to walk all the way. Bonjour, bonjour, les amis, I see you. I'm going to walk along Rue Daguerre all the way here, and we will wrap up at d'Enfer Rochereau, where my metro awaits. Now, I think, oh my goodness, we have 75 people already. This is great. I've always thought that La Rue Daguerre was one of the best and most authentic market streets in Paris. There is another very famous market street in Paris, also on the left bank, that a lot of you don't know. And I'm referring, of course, to La Rue Claire, which is a wonderful street with some shops and restaurants. But I think La Rue Daguerre, by far, has remained much, much more authentic than La Rue Claire. Here on Rue Daguerre, you still have, gentrification has happened here. Ooh, I hear rain on top of my head. I'm glad I'm still sitting here. Gentrification has happened here the way it has in many other neighborhoods, but we are in the old village of Montrouge, and La Rue Daguerre has remained also a very real place. There are many shops, many specialty shops that France and Paris are famous for along the street, and everybody rubs shoulders here. There are real people living here. The stores are not overpriced, so you can live in this area and afford the stores along the street, which is more than I can say about La Rue Claire, which is a vastly overpriced area. So it's real, it's authentic, it's been here for a really long time. Many years ago, there was a covered market here, and it was very popular. They took it down in the 1990s, even though locals protested strongly against it. Does that remind you of another story where a market was taken down, even though locals protested? You probably remember the story of the food market in Les Halles. That one was taken down in the early 1970s. Well, the same thing happened here. There was a great market, not as big as Les Halles, but it was taken down. But still, the street remains with all the specialty shops, especially the food stores. So I think it'll be fun for you. I know a lot of you miss Paris right now. It will be fun for you to walk along the street and take a look at all these specialty stores as we make our way along Rue Daguerre, all the way back to d'Enfer Rochereau. I see all the friendly bonjour. Let me look at you for a second. Coucou. Here I am. How are you? It's been a lovely afternoon. So sorry that the wind picked up and the rain started. Now you notice I'm not wearing a mask. I've been wearing a mask all day, and one of the reasons was I had to use public transportation, and I visited 2 museums today. Across the street from each other, there were no lines. I only made a reservation at one of them and was able to get into the second one. So I wore a mask through all that. And then I came back here and sat down until the start of the walk and I took it off. Bonjour, bonjour, bienvenue my friends. Oh, 95 people, this is awesome. I didn't know I was going to do the walk, so I couldn't warn more people. I'm really sorry. This was a bit of a spur of the moment decision. Sometimes you just have to go with the flow. I'm going to put this little book back in the bag. Yeah, so it'll be fun, I think, to do this. I'm going to finish my orangina and then we'll get going. Orangina tastes as good now as it did when I was a kid. Bonjour, bonjour, welcome everyone. So in case you just, it's supposed to rain in Seattle, what's new? Well, it was raining in Paris a few minutes ago. For those of you who just joined, my name is Véro. I am a tour guide and a French language teacher. I live in Paris, France, and you can follow me on Facebook, on Instagram, on YouTube, and I do share a lot of guided walks on YouTube. I started recently doing that, as well as some impromptu live walks like this one. So make sure to go to my YouTube channel where this walk will be shared eventually. Subscribe so you get the notifications. And we can go and have many fun adventures together. So, I am Rue Daguerre in the 14th arrondissement, for those of you wondering, south of the 14th arrondissement. Now, the funny thing about the 14th is that it's not a touristy arrondissement at all. In fact, if tourists come to the 14th arrondissement, it's usually to see the catacombs, you know, those infamous catacombs, which are about 5 minutes away from here. They also come to see the beautiful Montparnasse cemetery, and they may come also to discover what Café Society was all about in the roaring 20s and the 1920s, when the artist communities went from Montmartre all the way down to Montparnasse. But that's a little bit farther in that direction, not really next door to us. So that's why tourists come here, but nobody really goes past the d'Enfer Rochereau square, where the catacombs are located. And Rue Daguerre sits just south of that, which is where I am right now. Well, you're lucky, Virginia, if you have sun right now. So if you're ready, I think we'll get going. All right. Sorry if it's a bit shaky for a second. Au revoir, monsieur. Merci. So the street starts all the way up there on that big street that you see at the very end, and you haven't really missed much because there's a really nice restaurant up there and a couple of really cool bookstores. But other than that, I think the really fun stores, the food stores, specialty shops, are all in this direction. And I'm walking in the middle of the street. I should be careful. So if you look at those trees over there, this is actually the Montparnasse cemetery, the second largest. On y va, says Missy. That's right, Missy, on y va. This is the Montparnasse, the back of the Montparnasse cemetery that you see. So I could easily go over there maybe another time. Maybe we'll do an impromptu walk. So I'm going to try and show you how real this neighborhood and how authentic it still is. One sign is that the hotels that you will see along this street are all, with one exception, are all 2-star hotels. There are no fancy hotels along the street or in this neighborhood. And you do have signs of gentrification, cute little stores, etc. But, I just spotted something in the corner of my eye, which you need to do in Paris. Look at this. Of course, it's private, but hey, you can still look at it, right? Let's do this. See? Very peaceful. They don't hear a thing from down there. Yep, so if you're following with your little guidebook, we are going along Rue Daguerre. We are crossing Rue Gassendi right now. So some of the boutiques, this is not the liveliest section of the street. This is a nail store. These have really popped up all over Paris in recent years. I was surprised when I returned last year. And we are headed for the liveliest part of the street. If it starts raining, I'll just pop up my umbrella. Eh oui, il pleut. Mom is telling her kid that it's raining. He seems to doubt it. And there are big drops actually. Why don't I take it out right now? Give me a sec. I'm gonna take out my umbrella so the phone doesn't get wet. With one hand, it's not as easy as I thought. Multitasking. Hold on. All right, got it. And hi. He's like, what is this lady doing? Can everybody hear me okay? I'm not using my usual microphone. Ah, now you can hear the flick-flock on the umbrella. Let me turn around. So the stores are going to start right about here. This is a tiny little supermarket. The ones that are popping up everywhere now, they belong to that big chain, Carrefour. You see them in most neighborhoods. But as we go up the street, you're going to see a lot more specialty shops. And by that, I mean independent shops. The only time Rue Daguerre is really quiet is on Mondays because a lot of the shops are closed. But the rest of the time, it's lively. And at night, it's a whole new crowd. You see a lot of young people. Good. I hope the microphone doesn't pick up the wind too much. Nothing much I can do about it. Thank you for confirming the audio is good. So of course we have quite a few real estate agencies. These are all over Paris. Prices are as high as ever. I looked earlier. This is not as expensive as other neighborhoods, but it's still pretty steep. So all real neighborhoods in France and in Paris especially have un cordonnier, where you can get your shoes fixed, replace your heel pads, get the shoes fixed basically. And Parisians walk miles every day, so they do need those stores a lot. Here is Les Quatre Saisons. This is a favorite store of mine. It's called, in general, not this one in particular, it's called un primeur, Primeur. They sell fresh produce. Every little neighborhood has one or used to have one. And next to it is one of many cavistes, C-A-V-I-S-T-E, wine stores. And some of them have been here for really, really long time. La Cave des Papilles. Ah, I love this. The seller of taste buds, the taste buds seller. And I know this gentleman advertises, I can see here, vin naturel, vin issu de l'agriculture biologique. So he's into natural wines, organic wines. The good stuff. And here we have a darling little jouet and jeu. So here we have a darling little store that's toys and games for kids. I love these little stores that you still find in France and in Paris in particular. They're really little books. I love the name of this cafe, Daguerre Village. So it's named the village. It feels like a village in sections, and it's named after the street. In case you're wondering, the street is named after the gentleman, one of the gentlemen credited with inventing modern photography, Monsieur Daguerre. And of course, if you are in a real neighborhood, you need to have a pharmacy. And we have a couple along this street. The big green cross is how you spot them always. Bye, Missy. See you later. Thanks for stopping by. Now, along the street, you have a lot of places to sit and have a snack. L'autre thé, more of a tea room, this one. One of several butcher shops with the must-have rôtisserie. It's the end of the day now. It's almost 6 p.m., so only a few chickens are left. Can you smell them? And of course, the drippings went straight into the potatoes. You know how you can tell you're not in a super touristy area? People really stare at you when you're doing what I'm doing. In other neighborhoods, like on the left bank, people wouldn't care. They're so used to it. Here is a really pretty store. It's called Mint and Lilies, and it's home decor. Lovely things. trying to keep things stable for you. Isn't that pretty? Oh, désolé, madame. I blocked a lady's way with her little kid. Dang tourists. There we go. We have some herbs. This is a really pretty window. I love how they spend time decorating the windows in the window displays. And I love how when a window is not quite finished and up to their expectations, the window looks perfectly fine to you, and then you'll see a sign that says vitrine en cours or something like that, which really basically is saying we're still working on this, we're not quite finished yet, please don't judge us, which is, it shows you how much pride they take in the shop windows, in the window displays. De Neuville is a famous chocolate chain. They sell really good stuff. This gentleman here, producteurs locaux, so he works with local producers. This one sells beautiful linens. I'm going to wait for this car to go and then I'll cross. Good thing I have my umbrella. I wasn't planning on the rain, but it was in my bag. Le Bouquet. It's a pretty terrace. Now we're about to start to enter the liveliest part of the street. Now, of course, with the rain, even though it's rush hour almost, it's not going to be super lively. But this has been Paris for us lately. So, oh, this is the florist I saw earlier, chez Rodolphe. And he has a beautiful display on both sides of the street. Watching for that car. Look at that. Isn't that lovely? Adam is about to get in trouble. He's running away from Mama. Oh, thank you for telling me how many people are watching, because I can't tell when I'm doing this. Oh yeah, now I can. My finger was hiding it. Thank you. What's this? Shoe store. Oh, that's so cute. Giant steps, and it's a kids' shoe store. À pas de géant. Kids, shoes for kids. Le Repère de Bacchus is a chain, another wine merchant. And this is what any real neighborhood will have au bazar. They call it bazar, but it's in fact une quincaillerie. And une quincaillerie will sell just about everything you need. There's one across the street from where I live. Small appliances, kitchen things, gardening stuff. You have a list here. See, if you want bricolage, is if you want to fix things, home repairs. Produits d'entretien is cleaning products. They even have toys, jouets, bagages, bags. I mean, you name it. And it's a tiny store. I mean, the guy must know his shelves and his inventory very well, because he must know where to find everything in a second. Another of those supermarkets that are popping up in a lot of neighborhoods, Franprix. They can be quite small. This one is about average size. They do come in handy, though I wonder why they're here in such a street, because they have so many things here. Let's see. That's lovely. Le Jardin Secret, the secret garden. It looks like a restaurant, but it's closed. Oh, and look at this plaque. I've never seen it before. There's always a plaque. Let's see. To the memory of Roland Dupuis, born in 31, dead in 2001. Oh, he's the gentleman who invented the pedestrian-only street. We owe him a lot. Merci, Monsieur Dupuis. And he was the president of the Association of all the shopkeepers of Rue Daguerre. He was also the deputy mayor of the 14th arrondissement. Welcome back, Missy. You can watch the replay later for what you've missed. Here's a private section of the street. Those sections that can be called cités or villas, depending. the purpose for which they were built. But you can see the brick kind of dates it to the very late 19th century or early, no, probably 20th century, early 20th, this one, actually, because of the brick. They did that a lot after World War I. Ooh, my umbrella is threatening to. What do we have here? Ooh, Le Périgord. Remember when I took you to the Périgord and told you the story of Josephine Baker in the Périgord in Apéro with Véro? By the way, you can watch all the replays for all episodes on YouTube, on my YouTube channel, French Girl in Seattle. So this one sells lovely products from Le Périgord. You can see the duck, the name. Look at that. Oh. He probably has a lot of duck-based products. I can see the foie gras from here. Another primeur. Fruits and vegetables. I went to mine this morning and stocked up on berries and fresh fruit. Of course, you need to have a pâtissier boulanger or two. This is Thévenin. Now, a lot of the stores we're going to see in this section of the street are actually family-owned for several generations, and Thévenin is one of them. They have several locations in Paris. I know one on Rue Daguerre in the 5th, and Thévenin makes really good bread and pastries. Maison Thévenin, there's the name. An ice cream shop. I've never tried this one. Gelato. This one specializes in pasta. La Maison de la Pâte. Old French pasta. I bet it's delicious. I'm probably annoying people because I can't really see with the umbrella. This is a really nice brasserie. La Rue Daguerre. Shop as in big mug, like a beer mug. See, the terrace is already filling up. It's about 5:30-ish now. A Greek traiteur. As you know, the traiteur is the magic word for the deli where you buy your prepared food. This one happens to specialize in Greek food, but if you have a good traiteur that makes salads, a variety of salads, that makes hot dishes as well, then you're in luck if you get an apartment or a hotel near a neighborhood near a traiteur. Some clothing. Here is Monsieur Androuet, one of the most famous cheesemongers in Paris. For a really long time. They've been around since the early 20th century, Androuet, and they also have several locations. You can go there to get cheese. It's always a reliable address. What does he say in the sign? Put some sun in your plate. Our latest creations. And he tells you, yeah, because not only does he sell cheese, but he's a fromager, but he's also a maître affineur. So he knows how to create the cheese, how to make it. Knows how to age it just right. And you have beautiful goat cheese right here in this window. More chicken. Whatever's left of the chicken for today, with a friendly cow watching over it. Moo. French cows say moo. Constance is yet another primeur. As you can see, why would you go to one of these supermarkets to buy fruits and vegetables here? You have at least 3 or 4 stores that sell fresh fruit and vegetable. Yeah, some people have masks. I'd say, I've answered that just earlier. I would say 1 person out of 3 is wearing masks right now. That's not many. Another pharmacy. Gotta have those pharmacies. And this is again one of several boucheries and charcuterie. This gentleman is selling lavender and it smells all the way from here. La lavande, pas cher. Lavande is not expensive. Now, Daguerre Marais is an institution on this street. They have been here forever. It's a family business, several generations as well. It's a fishmonger, and they are extremely famous. Some people come from all over Paris to shop here. And what I like, I had lunch, I had a picnic here. They do act as a traiteur as well, because as you can see, they have all the ready-made salads. Bonjour, monsieur. They have all the ready, oh my gosh, look at the paella. Do you see the dish with the paella in it? And as if we didn't have enough produce, here's a big one. À la bonne ménagère. Shellfish. Ooh, the nice oysters, les fines de Claire, les huîtres normandes from Normandy. Les praires, les palourdes, les couteaux, les coques. You can brush up on all your vocab here. 135 people watching, that's amazing. I'm glad you guys are around. Now, La Maison Perret, here's another big name on the street. Maison Perret is actually a restaurant, a brasserie, but right next door to it is also the family business, which is a wine business. And the cute story is that across the street is the famous fromagerie, the cheesemonger called Véro et Fils. See the cows? So Véro is a family business. And I think I remember a friend of mine telling me a long time ago that one day the son of the Véro family fell in love with the daughter from this business and they got married. So it's a really cute story. Look at the cows. Véro et Fils. And of course their cheese is beautiful. We're nearing the end of the street now. Look at the brie. You know, Paris is the area to eat brie. Comes from Meaux or Melun, two cities outside Paris. And it's gorgeous. Have some, there's a reflection. I don't know how much you can really see. The rocamadour, I love rocamadour. It's a really nice goat cheese. More goat in this window and other things as well. Am I making you hungry? The Brillat Savarin, one of the richest tasting cheeses you can have in France. So good. And all the goats, goat cheeses, lots of goat cheese. Look at, this is awesome. Coulommiers. So we have two other butchers that are pretty lively usually, but I think they're both undergoing some construction because this one is clearly being fixed up and the one earlier, that one was also open and being fixed up. So looks like the butchers have taken a chance during the opportunity during the confinement and after the confinement to do some remodeling. Here is a nice view of la Rue Daguerre looking back because we're reaching the end of the street. So remember it goes all the way down there. It's about 600 meters long, I think. So it's pretty long. And it's a lively scene, even a day like today when it's raining. So if you want to see a real market street in a real neighborhood, leave Rue Claire for once and come over here. You could use this opportunity, love this cafe, I've had coffee there several times before, Café Daguerre. Yes, a good reason to come here would be to visit the two top attractions nearby, which are the catacombs, I talked about it earlier, and across the street from the catacombs, you have this newer museum that opened last summer, the Museum of the Liberation. And it's excellent. I had to come today. It opened actually today. And I had to come because of a special exhibit that they had just started running when the lockdown happened. It was dedicated to the Exodus, what happened when French people and many Europeans from Northern Europe fled the Germans at the beginning of World War II. Millions and millions of people on the roads in France seeking shelter. So I had to come see this exhibit, and let me tell you, it was worth it. I was not allowed to take pictures inside the exhibit, which makes sense because they charge you for it, so the museum is free. But I took copious notes, and I will be sure to report back and even write a blog post about it if I ever find the time, because I think it's a good story to tell. So here is this newer museum, le Musée de la Libération. I know I talked about it a lot when I went last summer, and I know some of you went already. This avenue is dedicated to Rolf Tanguy, who was one of the leading leading personalities during the liberation of Paris in the week in August of 1944, the week right before the official liberation of Paris, when the Parisians rebelled against the Germans. And Rolf Tanguy was one of their leaders, and he set up camp right below our feet in the catacombs. And you can visit his former HQ. Here it says Musée de la Libération. It's probably the museum in Paris with the longest name. Musée de la Libération de Paris. Musée du Général Leclerc, Musée Jean Moulin. So it's dedicated to two great Frenchmen. They really were. Général Leclerc, who was the first one to enter Paris during the liberation in August of 1944 with his troops, and Jean Moulin, the man who organized the French resistance and was finally arrested, horribly tortured, and died on his way to Germany. Nobody's forgotten them, and this museum is really dedicated to them. Now, this is the thing, look at this. So for now, we have to make reservations. A lot of museums have reopened this week, but we have to make online reservations before we show up. And as you can see, there are no lines. The reservations are about every 15 minutes throughout the day. So I made mine. I paid the €6 to see the exhibit. The museum is otherwise free. And I got in right away. And there were maybe 4 people in there with me today. So I spent a good hour in there taking notes because I had already seen the main part of the museum. And across the street from it is the entrance to the famous catacombs of Paris. As you probably remember, a lot of the Paris cemeteries were emptied right before the French Revolution. It took over 2 years to remove bones from all the cemeteries of Paris and bring them here, where they were neatly organized at the beginning of the 19th century. It's become, of course, a tourist attraction. Well, today this is what the line was like. So I didn't have a reservation. I crossed the street after visiting the first museum. I made my reservation online right there outside that door and went straight in. And I've got to tell you guys, it's really nice to be able to do that in Paris. I hadn't seen the catacombs in years because of all the crowds, because I could never make it in and I didn't want to wait. So it is really nice. Now, these 2 buildings, this one and that one, facing each other, were actually 2 buildings that played a very important part in Parisian life. As you probably know, there was a wall called the Farmers General Wall that was erected in the 18th century, so merchandise coming into Paris could be taxed. And very few of the places where that was achieved all around Paris survived. There are a few of them, and these 2 buildings were part of that wall where you would be taxed if you wanted to bring merchandise in here. I am walking towards the heart of d'Enfer Rochereau, that great square. Yes, I know, the lines at the catacombs were absolutely ridiculous. I honestly, I would not have gone if it had, also I think it's really overpriced. They charge €24 or €26 to see that thing. If you show up the same day, like I did this morning, I'm gonna wait till this siren goes by. It's only 14, quote unquote, only. I think it's a lot of money to see the catacombs, personally. I think the Museum of the Liberation should charge for the entrance a lot more than they do since they're free. Here is the beautiful Lion de Belfort, which everybody recognizes at the... And so if you kept going in that direction over there, you would be heading towards Montparnasse, you know, that infamous tower, and what was the hotbed of the Café Society in the 1920s, when artists moved from Montmartre all the way to Montparnasse. Not just French artists. Ernest Hemingway was a regular there. So you have all these beautiful cafes like La Coupole, La Closerie des Lilas, they're all down there. And if you want to experience Parisian cafe culture, that's where you have to go. So I think I'm going to wrap up pretty soon. I wanted to show you La Rue Daguerre, which according to me is one of the best and most authentic Paris market streets in Paris. So please try and come here if you can. Oh, this car scared me. I thought it was going to run me over. Yeah, Parisians are back, especially when they're driving. Here's a beautiful Wallace fountain. I seem to catch a Wallace fountain whenever I take you on a walk. You would think that they are at every street corner, but they aren't. And this one's working. You can see the water. And in case you've ever wondered if you could use that water, by all means, this water is really good. I might refill my bottle before I leave. So maybe I'll just go inside this little square here, this square, and say goodbye to you and you know what? I see some shady characters in there. I am not going to sit in there because I'm out of change and what they want is change. So I'll sit here instead. Why not? This is a good spot, right? Maybe I can close my umbrella. Looks like we might be in luck and the rain stopped. Yes, the Wallace fountains were I know many of you know the story already, but the Wallace fountains were a gift from a gentleman named Mr. Wallace, who was a British philanthropist, and he lived in Paris. And after the big uprising, La Commune, in the 1870s, the Parisians had just run out of everything, and a lot of Parisians would drink wine because they didn't have enough water. And that would cause serious health issues, of course. And Monsieur Wallace was a lover of the arts, and he commissioned these statues and donated them to the city of Paris. So you have a lot of copies around, but a lot of the original ones are also around. And one way to tell them apart is to look for the date and the name of the sculptor, Monsieur Lebourg. They were made right outside Paris. It's usually on the base of the fountain. You can tell if they're originals or not. So this gentleman is washing his hands and filling his bottle. That's what they're for. Okay, so I tried to show you as much as I could. I didn't have much time to prepare for this because I basically just came out of the second museum of the catacombs, which honestly I'm not going to do for another 20 years now that I've been back. So I'll share some photos. Oh, I'm glad you enjoyed the walk, Phyllis. Yeah, so I'll share some photos of the catacombs, whatever I could take down there with my camera. It's an interesting place for sure. I think the catacombs is definitely one of these places in Paris where, I'm going to say hi again. It's definitely one of these places in Paris where you have to, where you would probably benefit from a tour with somebody who's really knowledgeable about the story of the catacombs, like those people they call the cataphiles, who spent a lot of time down there, more or less illegally. But some tour guides really specialize in the catacombs and they can tell you all the good stuff, all the good stories. That would be worth doing, because otherwise you just, there are lots of stairs to go down, lots of stairs to come back up, and you just end up walking in very damp and dark tunnels. It's a little chilly down there. And you look at stacks of bones which are arranged in very interesting patterns. And there are signs that tell you what cemeteries in Paris they came from. And that is the cool part, because you are reminded of a lot of older cemeteries that have now disappeared in Paris. So I think seeing it with somebody who knows the catacombs would probably be worth your while. Since the entrance fee is so high anyway, it's like 24, 26 euros. You might as well just ask somebody to show you around that place. And I'm not that person. I'm telling you already, I don't specialize in the catacombs. I don't know. I know the story of the catacombs and the former quarries that, right below our feet right now is basically a piece of Swiss cheese. This is one of the areas in Paris where there are so many tunnels from the former quarries, those catacombs. It's a miracle these buildings are still standing and haven't fallen through yet. So I hope you've enjoyed this. I have to teach French in the next couple of days, so I'll be busy. And but towards the end of the week, I might be able to do another pop-in walk like this, maybe in my neighborhood for a change, actually, because there are a few places I'd love to show you. So I hope you've enjoyed this walk. If you don't know me yet, my name is Vero. I am a Paris-based tour guide and a travel blogger and a French language teacher. And I share a lot of fun guided walks on my YouTube channel, so make sure to subscribe. This one will be there as well. And I also share my Parisian life daily in social media, on Facebook, Instagram, and when I have time on my blog, FrenchGirlInSeattle.com. So thank you for tuning in today. I know a lot of you, maybe a lot of you know this neighborhood already, and it took you back in time to happy memories that you have of Paris. And if not, you've discovered a new area, which is always a good thing. I like to take people to off the beaten path corners of Paris and France when I can, but especially in Paris, because in my experience, people tend to do always the same things in Paris. So tune in next time. I can't believe I think we had up to 165 people watching today. That's amazing for an impromptu walk. So thank you so much, and enjoy the rest of your day. À bientôt, mes amis.